Hi everyone, Peter here for Movement and Performance, and in this presentation we're going to be covering the differences in movement and technique characteristics and also the similarities between acceleration and maximum velocity sprinting. So before we get into the exact details of acceleration and maximum velocity, we need to understand a few fundamental qualities which apply both to acceleration and maximum velocity running, and also pretty much the same characteristics that are going to apply to other athletic movements. Like we got here, someone doing a vertical jump, and the same principles basically apply. So essentially we want a braced trunk, which means that spinal position stays in sort of a pretty neutral position almost the entire movement. We're using we're getting maximum use of the hips and shoulders, and in terms of the hips, we're getting triple extension with that explosive movement. So as you can see, when he's in this crouch athletic position, he explodes up, and we get an extension of the hip, of the knee, and of the ankle. That's that maximum triple extension we're after. And then obviously he's using his shoulders and hips maximally because they're going to be the biggest powerhouses of the body that are going to allow us to produce the most force. Now moving on specifically to acceleration. So we're going to talk a little bit about the sort of general mechanics and what we want to see in acceleration. So this guy is here in this picture is starting from blocks. So that's going to give us basically a really easy, linear, objective way to sort of judge this acceleration, and he's got pretty much optimal technique in this image here. So we can see he's got a forward lean from that first step out of the block at approximately 45 degrees. So we can see this arrow here, nice straight line all the way through the ankle, knee, hip, all the way up to the neck. And this line is at around 45 degrees to the parallel. Stronger athletes will actually potentially be able to propel out of those blocks at even lower angles. So again, we have parallel shin and body angles. So we can see here this shin and this shin are pretty much parallel, as with the body line and both shins as well. And this is going to allow us, if this shin is facing, if his lower leg is somewhere around here, he's not going to be able to attack back at the ground as he would with this position here. So from here, his knees up high, he can strike directly back into the ground this way, and again continue to propel himself forward. If he strikes down, or forward, not only is he going to produce more braking force, but his next step's going to push him up and instead of forward. Another characteristic is that toes pointing up, so the foot's not lagging down here. It's nice and up, which is going to actually pre-stretch that Achilles tendon. So when he actually strikes the ground, he gets more use of the stretch shortening cycle. So that's why we have that toe up. Low ground clearance, so that foot is only just above the ground. The higher the foot comes off the ground, the more time it takes to then strike back down at the ground in terms of acceleration. The head's facing down, so his eyes are pretty much facing the ground, and it's not that he's intentionally bending his neck to look down. His head's still in a fairly neutral position. It's just that because of his body angle, we want his head to face down. If he's looking up and straight, he'll be basically extending his neck, which we don't really want. We want that nice straight line from ankle all the way to the head. Big arms, so again that comes back to that sort of using the shoulders. We're getting good use of the arms, which is going to help drive the momentum of the athlete forward. And sort of a characteristic of acceleration in contrast to maximum velocity running is that there's slower ground contact time. So because he doesn't have that much momentum going forward, each step on the ground actually is going to take longer, which means that he has more time to apply force, and therefore acceleration is going to be more reliant on strength and force qualities. whereas when we get to maximum velocity running, we'll talk about more what that's going to be reliant on. So moving on to maximum velocity, it's a little bit different here to acceleration. We want a nice upright posture, not a forward lean. We want relaxed shoulders. We don't want them to be shrugged up because that's going to create tense robotic movement. We want nice fluid movement. We want our knees to get up nice and high, probably up to around 90 degrees to the body. So we can see here with that maximum knee drive, we're up around 90 degrees. And we want to then, when we strike back down with the foot, contact the ground just in front of the center of mass. If we strike the ground too far ahead, so if his foot's here, striking the ground maybe just above his center of mass here, if he strikes the ground too far forward, similar to the acceleration technique when we're talking about having the shin angles, he's going to actually be creating more braking force because hitting the ground ahead of the center of mass is going to actually require the athlete to have some braking force before they can actually apply force to the ground again. Again, we want that toe up, so when that knee's driving, we want that toe up. He could probably dorsiflex his ankle a little bit more in this position, but it's the same idea, that it creates a pre-stretch in the Achilles tendon, so that when we strike the ground again, we have more, we're sort of more prepared with that stretch shortening cycle, as opposed to if the Achilles tendon is slack. So the leg recovery, we want sort of a good way to think of it is heel or bum. So as you can see, his foot drives up and it's striking the ground. So as this foot's coming through, that heel's coming up and almost tucking under the bum, and before it actually then starts driving forward, as we can see here. So this is a continuation. So the strides of maximum velocity running are going to be a lot longer than that of acceleration, because we have so much momentum going forward, and each step we're taking is essentially just continuing that momentum and trying to maintain that maximum velocity. And then because of that, we have very fast ground contact times because we're running so fast, which means that our maximum velocity sprinting is going to rely heavily on the elastic properties of the muscle tendon unit, particularly the Achilles tendon, in order to use the stretch shortening cycle maximally, which is going to allow us to sort of, again, use those elastic properties, which is going to be a lot more efficient and effective than if we were just using our muscular force. So that's it for this presentation, guys. Hopefully this was informative and you guys got something out of it. You can follow Movement and Performance on Facebook and on Instagram with the details here if you want to check them out. And if you haven't already, you can subscribe to this channel on YouTube to stay up to date with the latest videos that are posted. On Facebook and Instagram, you'll find these research infographics, which if you're a curious individual, like you probably are if you're watching this video and want to learn more, you can check these pictures out, which are basically the latest research summarized into these easy to understand graphics, so that you can stay up to date with the latest research in sports performance training. You'll also find training footage of a range of different athletes, and you'll find some more short informative videos which are going to briefly cover a topic in a short video. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you got something out of it.